Biden campaign meddled with the 2020 election. We covered this extensively last week, Thursday and Friday. Revelations that Anthony Blinken, then working as national security advisor for the Biden campaign, he actually instigated that letter of 50 intelligence community officials to claim falsely, erroneously, they lied, that the Hunter Biden laptop story from the New York Post was wrong, false, and, oh, by the way, Russian propaganda, disinformation. Yeah, it's a twofer, you see. Not only is the story false, but there goes Trump colluding with the Russians again. Well, that's not true. It was a legitimate story, and that laptop was actually a treasure trove of criminal evidence against the president's son, some of the evidence potentially even implicating Joe Biden himself. So now, what do we do about it? Let's bring in Representative Ben Cline of the Commonwealth of Virginia. He's a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, most importantly in the Oversight Committee. Congressman Cline, thanks for joining us.
Larry, great to be with you.
So what can we do? I mean, I was told election interference was a bad thing, and that's exactly what Anthony Blinken did here. He got rewarded as Secretary of State now.
It is really, really infuriating to see the depths to which the Biden campaign stooped and the falsehoods that they told when confronted with the facts about the Hunter Biden laptop. So the Oversight Committee is continuing to investigate. The Judiciary Committee stands ready as well and is moving in a number of different directions. My subcommittee on Judiciary has been calling DOJ, FBI, the Department of Education, all of these agencies to the Hill to testify on why they are dragging their feet on providing what is critical information for the American people.
We've learned this because of some testimony given by Michael Morrell. He's the former deputy CIA director under President Obama. He's the one who Anthony Blinken called and said, "Hey, can you get 50 of the old gang together and put this letter together for us?" First of all, were you a part of Mr. Morrell's testimony? Did you witness it?
No, I did not, but we understand that he was quite clear in his testimony that it was Anthony Blinken, that it was the campaign calling, asking for help to organize this letter, which was clearly disinformation. And to jump on the old Russia Collusion bandwagon is out of Hillary Clinton's playbook. And it doesn't surprise me that Joe Biden's people wanted to run the same plays.
Can you tell us if there is a plan at this time for Mr. Morrell to testify in public in the interest of full transparency, or perhaps his entire transcript could be released, or at least the entire transcript pertaining to this issue?
Well, I think it is important that the American people get transparency on this issue. They are getting it with regards to the Hunter Biden laptop. The committee is working overtime to make sure that the American people get the information that they're entitled to, that this pursuit of disinformation, that the attempts by the Biden administration now, it's not just the campaign,
Right.
to impact the 2024 election will not be successful, and that they're called out for any actions that they take.
And then there's these 50 members of the intelligence community. They weren't active members. They used to work at the various alphabet organizations that had access to intelligence. Most of them, if not all of them, still enjoy top clearance here in town. Just so everybody knows, Congressman Cline, you work in one of these agencies, you leave, you get a job in the private sector, either with a private law firm or with a company doing business with the Pentagon or one of the defense contractors. You still retain your clearance, and that clearance is very valuable. In your mind, sir, since their name, their reputation, their legacy with the U.S. government was abused for political purposes, and they were wrong. They were just dead wrong about this issue, if not nefariously wrong. Should they still enjoy that clearance, or shouldn't they get their clearance rescinded at this point?
No, I think that once the facts are laid out for the appropriate commissions that determine this type of clearance, that it'll show that they deserve to have their clearance revoked. You know, too many people have top secret clearance. You look at the National Guardsman up in Massachusetts who leaked all the information about Ukraine and our battle readiness. Apparently, 4 million Americans have that level of clearance, and that's just too many, and it goes on into perpetuity. So it should have an end once your public service ends. And
Yeah.
that's the problem that we're seeing with these rotating doors in the swamp in the Capitol, people going out of administrations, coming back in on campaigns. Um, that doesn't need to happen anymore.
Meanwhile, also on the Hunter Biden laptop front, we saw last week that a current special agent for the IRS, through his or her attorney, has requested whistleblower status. Has that status been granted from Congress, and will we be seeing that testimony anytime soon?
Hopefully, I know that that conversation is happening about whistleblower status, and we have a number of people coming in from these agencies asking for that status. So, going through those interviews, having those conversations, that's an ongoing process. People want action from their representation in Congress. We are working hard to respond to those demands for the American people because we want transparency. We want the facts out there. Republicans in the House
Yeah.
recognize that they deserve a new day out in America, and they're getting a new Congress as a result.
There was a report that the FBI and various parts of the Justice Department are having employees sign non-disclosure agreements. A whistleblower statute currently on the books that would override any non-disclosure agreement to protect somebody's job, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. The people working at these agencies have to have the protection of the U.S. laws if they want to come in and talk about wrongdoing within their agencies. That shouldn't be swept under the rug by these very agencies that are committing the wrongdoings. They
Yeah.
need to be able to come to Congress to tell their story, and that's what the statute allows for.
Congressman Cline, after this flurry of stories last week, which included the two that we've just discussed, but also a report that there are FBI agents who also were frustrated with the DOJ. They claim that they finished their investigation over a year ago, yet nothing happening with the Hunter Biden story. We now learn through a leak that Hunter Biden's attorneys will be meeting with the U.S. attorney this week, Mr. Weiss, up in Delaware. Do you believe that there's a negotiation in place now where they're going to try to plea out to some tax deal, thus avoiding a very important criminal investigation, preempting it, and basically sweeping this under the rug?
Well, that is a concern. And so we are going to be calling in the FBI over the next several weeks to testify, whether it's in appropriations or judiciary, to make sure that whether it's at the DOJ, in their prosecutors' offices, that they're not able to sweep under the rug a critical story like the Hunter Biden laptop. So that if we have anything to say about it, that's not going to be happening.
Well, I should hope you will have something to say about it. I mean, that is a part of the oversight function here in Judiciary, as well as the Oversight Committee, headed up by Congressman Jordan and Congressman Comer, respectively. I mean, it's like they're giving you the agenda for the next 6 months, sir, because they're not behaving as though they're subject to your oversight.
No, they don't, and they never have. And only when there's accountability will the misdeeds that we've seen in the past and the types of trading on influence and other types of uh, evidence that we're seeing now will stop.
Yeah. Meantime, this is a big media day, as you know. We've had the news that Tucker Carlson is no longer at Fox News, and Don Lemon is no longer at CNN. It is a reflection on the media that at the time the Hunter Biden laptop story came out, you had the director of national intelligence, Mr. Ratcliffe, say, "We have no indication that this is Russian disinformation." And he was in place as director of the DNI at that moment. And then you get this letter from 50 former ICs, and they said that it is Russian disinformation. Which narrative did the media run with, Congressman Cline? It's insidious, isn't it?
It is, and I don't know whether we'll ever be able to break that link between the liberal press and the liberal left in government and the talking heads. But we're doing our part to make sure that the facts get out there to the American people. The fact that the people returned Republicans to the majority in Congress means we have the gavels, we set the agenda, and we'll
Yeah.
make sure that the information gets out there to the people.
Well, we're doing our part here too, Congressman Cline. You're watching Salem News Channel.